Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real, something raw, something that too many people ignore until it breaks them. Every relationship has truths, some beautiful, some uncomfortable, and some that whisper before they scream. But there comes a moment when you can no longer afford to ignore what your spirit has been trying to tell you. Today, we're diving into the 5 unmistakable signs he's hiding another woman, not to create fear, but to awaken your strength, sharpen your wisdom, and remind you what you deserve. Because your heart is too precious, your peace is too valuable, and your worth is far too high to let anyone diminish it. Trust your intuition, the quiet voice inside you that speaks long before the world even notices what's happening. It's the feeling that rises in your chest when something just doesn't sit right. The tug in your spirit that whispers, "Pay attention." Too often, people silence that voice because they don't want to face the truth, or because they fear being wrong, or because they're hoping things will magically fix themselves. But intuition isn't an enemy. It's your first line of protection, your emotional compass, the part of you that sees what your eyes haven't fully processed yet. When something shifts in someone's behavior, when the energy around you starts to feel different, when explanations stop matching actions, your intuition notices before anything else. It's not paranoia, it's awareness. There's a reason you feel uneasy when patterns change. There's a reason you question things that used to feel normal. Intuition picks up on tone, silence, hesitation, and emotional distance. It catches the things that logic excuses. And every time you ignore it, you're not avoiding pain, you're delaying it. Listening to your intuition doesn't mean assuming the worst. It means respecting yourself enough to acknowledge when something feels off. It means allowing yourself to see the truth even when it's uncomfortable. It's realizing that your inner voice isn't trying to scare you. It's trying to save you from wasting time, energy, and emotional strength on situations that don't honor your worth. Intuition knows when you're being loved with sincerity and when you're being strung along. It knows when someone's words are genuine and when they're just filling silence. It recognizes when your heart is being valued and when it's being taken for granted. You don't need physical proof to validate what you already feel. Not every truth arrives wrapped in evidence. Some truths arrive as a heaviness in your chest, a shift in your peace, a sudden awareness that the connection isn't what it used to be. When you trust your intuition, you reclaim your power, you stand firmly in your self-respect, you stop accepting half answers and empty excuses. You stop convincing yourself that you're overthinking when deep down you know you're not. You give yourself the freedom to walk away from situations that drain you and walk toward ones that honor you. You strengthen your emotional boundaries, raise your standards, and move with the confidence of someone who knows their heart is worth protecting. Consistency is the real love language because it shows commitment without needing grand gestures or big promises. It's in the everyday actions that reveal someone's true intentions. When someone truly values you, they don't leave you guessing. They don't show up one day with love and disappear the next with excuses. They don't treat you like a priority on Monday and an option on Friday. Real consistency is steady, dependable, predictable in the best way. It gives you peace instead of confusion, clarity instead of doubt, and assurance instead of anxiety. When someone is consistent, you never have to question where you stand. Their actions remind you over and over that you matter, that they're invested, that they're present, not just when it's convenient, but even when it's challenging. But when consistency fades, the truth begins to surface. You start noticing delays in answers that used to be instant. You start feeling distance in moments that used to feel warm. You begin hearing excuses more often than real conversations. You begin noticing their attention wandering and their energy disconnecting. These subtle shifts are not random, they are signals. No one suddenly becomes inconsistent without a reason. Life gets busy, yes, but genuine care doesn't vanish because of a busy schedule. People make time for what matters to them, and when someone stops doing that, it reveals a deeper truth they may not be ready to say. Consistency is not about perfection, it's about intention. It's about someone choosing to show up repeatedly because they want to, not because they feel obligated. It's about reliability, knowing that their actions match their words. When consistency disappears, you start carrying the emotional weight they once helped hold. You begin questioning yourself, wondering if you're asking for too much, if you're misreading the signs, if you're being unreasonable. But you're not. Wanting consistency is wanting respect. Wanting consistency is expecting effort. Wanting consistency means you value your heart enough to want stability instead of confusion. When you pay attention to consistency, you protect yourself from empty promises and temporary affection. You learn to distinguish between someone who genuinely cares and someone who is simply passing time. You begin to understand that effort is not accidental, it's chosen, patterns don't lie, energy doesn't lie, and consistency, whether present or absent, always reveals the truth long before words ever do. Energy never lies because it speaks louder than anything a person can say. Words can be rehearsed, excuses can be crafted, and promises can be repeated, but energy reveals the truth underneath it all. You can feel it in the way someone looks at you, the way they listen, the way they show up or fail to show up. Even when they try to act like everything is normal, their energy exposes what their mouth refuses to admit. You notice the shift before you can even explain it. The warmth that used to be in their presence starts to cool. The enthusiasm that once made conversations flow now feels forced. The connection that once felt natural now feels tense or distant. People often ignore these shifts because they want to believe the words. They want to believe nothing has changed. But energy is always the first indicator that something is different. When someone's heart or mind is drifting elsewhere, their presence becomes shallow. Their responses lose depth. Their attention becomes selective. You can feel them slipping away, not because they said something, but because the emotional weight they once carried with you is suddenly lighter. There's a heaviness in the silence, a hesitation in the interaction, a disconnect in the moments that once felt effortless. You find yourself trying harder just to feel the same closeness you used to receive without effort. That's the power of energy. It reveals what actions try to hide. When someone's energy changes, you don't need a confrontation or a confession. Your intuition reads it, your heart feels it, and your peace reacts to it. Energy tells the story long before the words catch up, and once you learn to listen to it, you stop allowing yourself to be fooled by temporary charm or emotional mask wearing. Transparency is the foundation of any relationship that is built to last because openness creates safety, understanding, and trust. When someone is genuinely committed to you, they don't need to hide parts of their life or guard their phone like a secret vault. They don't become nervous when you walk by or suddenly change the topic when certain things come up. Real transparency is effortless. It's a natural flow where conversations are honest, questions are welcomed, and nothing feels off limits. You are not left guessing. You are not forced to decode mixed signals. You don't have to search for hidden meanings behind simple answers. Openness gives you clarity, and clarity gives you peace. But when secrecy enters the picture, everything shifts. Suddenly there are hidden messages, unexplained calls, late-night notifications, and conversations that feel incomplete. You feel the weight of the things left unsaid. You sense the distance created by the walls they put up. It's not the privacy that hurt, it's the secrecy. There is a big difference between a person having personal space and a person hiding pieces of their world from you. Secrecy breeds doubt, and doubt slowly chips away at your emotional security. You start noticing how guarded they've become, how cautious they are with their device, how they avoid discussing things that should be simple. You feel like you're being kept outside of a door that used to be open, and the more they hide, the more your peace gets disrupted. You begin questioning what changed, what they're protecting, and why honesty suddenly feels like a burden for them. Transparency shouldn't have to be demanded. It's something a person gives freely when they have nothing to conceal and everything to build with you. When someone is open, you feel safe. When someone is closed off, you feel disconnected. And that shift in communication tells you more about their intentions than any words ever could. Choosing yourself every time is not an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-respect. It means recognizing that your heart, your peace, and your emotional well-being deserve protection, even if it requires making difficult decisions. When you choose yourself, you stop settling for situations that drain you and relationships that make you question your worth. You stop accepting half effort, half love, and half truths. You start honoring your needs, your standards, and the voice inside you that tells you when something isn't right. Choosing yourself means understanding that you cannot force someone to love you the way you deserve. You cannot chase clarity from someone who thrives in confusion. You cannot beg for loyalty from someone who doesn't value commitment. The moment you choose yourself, you reclaim your emotional power. You stop allowing someone else's mixed signals to dictate your confidence. You stop waiting for someone to change while you're breaking in the process. You learn that walking away is not a loss, it's growth. It takes courage to choose yourself, especially when your heart is involved. It means facing the fear of being alone, the fear of starting over, the fear of letting go of what you hoped would work. But choosing yourself reminds you that loneliness is better than being undervalued. Growth is better than staying stuck. Peace is better than chaos. When you choose yourself, you set a standard that others must rise to or fall away from. You make it clear that you won't tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, or inconsistency. You show yourself that your future matters more than someone else's excuses. You begin to attract the energy and the people who match your strength, your integrity, and your intentions. Choosing yourself is the moment you stop surviving the relationship and start protecting the life you want to build.